Hi everyone, we are starting another very cool video with a very special guest directly from the studios of the XL Turbo in Brazil. From Australia is coming my very special guest here at my side virtually. Let me bring him. It's Wyn Hopkins from Perth,
Cristiano.
Australia.
Hey,
Yeah,
Cristiano.
MVP. Hey Wyn,
Hey,
how are you
hey,
doing?
hey, I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
Yeah, we have a huge difference in time zones. It's night here and morning for you, and
Yeah.
this will be a very good conversation for
Yeah,
sure.
you're going to sleep. I'm waking up.
I know that you are. Yes. Sure. Uh, I know that you are MVP. I know that you like Power BI and Excel, both tools and another tools. I have lots of information here, and let me put your full name here, Wyn Hopkins, for everyone who is watching now. And let me bring here the screen that I have. I have some information from you about you, and I would like to see you talking about uh, all this start Excel and Win. I know your work, but it is good to hear from you. How is this? What is the story behind the work that you do today? How did you start with Excel? And I know that you are a very heavy user and have a passion for Excel, but everything has a beginning. And how it was with you, this story?
Yeah, I've been watching, some of the other interviews you've done, and all been very good, Cristiano. Some interesting folks on there, and I think a lot of people sort of start in the same way. They just sort of dabble a little bit, and then they seem to have a bit of a knack for Excel, or actually enjoy using it. God, my story started 25 years ago, which terrifies me whenever I say that. And as part of my university course, I did a year out at Hewlett Packard in their finance department. This is in the UK. And one of the guys there was really good at this thing called Lotus 123, which is pretty old spreadsheeting software. And by the end of my year there, I'd written a whole bunch of macros that had pretty much automated my entire job, and I just had a bit of a knack for it. So then I became an accountant with PricewaterhouseCoopers. Didn't really use Excel much, but I helped people with Excel because I'd done a little bit of spreadsheeting stuff in the past. And it really just took off from there. I was the sort of person who knew about spreadsheets and Excel and stuff before everybody else did. So I sort of started helping people out. And then I came to Australia for a year, just traveling around. And one of the jobs was a company that was, had this big financial model. And they said, "Oh, do you know anything about Excel?" And I said, "Oh, I know a bit." And I started to help them with that and learned a huge amount from playing about and tinkering. And then, I just started doing more and more, becoming an analyst for the banks in the UK, doing monthly packs and reporting, reports that sliced and diced data in all sorts of different ways. And that just sort of took off from there. And then eventually I sort of Googled Excel financial modeling Perth. I had a cousin who was in Perth in Australia. And this company called Access Analytic popped up. So I said, "Oh, are you hiring?" And they were. So that was 12 years ago. And I suddenly realized how little I knew about Excel when I started with those guys, because they were just on another level to me. And I think that's I don't know your experience, but the more you learn about Excel, the more you realize there is to learn.
Yes. So the Access Analytic is a company that you are today the director, but you started from another position.
Yes, I just started as a business analyst, and then I sort of just over time just worked through things, and now I'm a director there. So it's exciting. I'm still hands-on doing the work. and that's what I love. I love just getting in there and coding in Excel or Power BI or doing that sort of thing.
Yes.
It's good fun.
So we can say that Excel gave you a huge opportunity to grow and expand your possibilities in your positions and relationships, friends that you know today. It's correct to say, right?
Yeah. It's that thing of, if you're the go-to person for the Excel stuff, then you can and you're willing to develop and push yourself to learn some new things, and you're the sort of person who loves solving puzzles and problems. If you're that sort of person, then Excel can just take you. It's such a great platform for building on, that you can do all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but I know, look, you're interviewing me, but I want to ask you, so about yourself then. So, because we've not met before, so give me a little bit of, imagine we're having a beer somewhere, and so what was your, where did you get started, and how have you got into this whole Excel Turbo thing?
Me?
Yeah. I'm turning the tables on you.
Yeah. Actually, okay, we can do that. I started with Excel in an internship a long time ago. I was 16 years old, and I got the chance to see the Lotus as well, the 123, but I really did use it. But I saw some professionals using. I saw the interface, but I cannot say that I worked with the tool. But the Excel 9.7, I start to really use for simple things, and then evolving up to the nowadays. But Excel Turbo is recent from 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a company which the Genexis, but the name is hard to say because of the meaning. It's just a combination of letters. So I created Excel Turbo later to connect to people, to talk about Excel specifically, not other technologies, but Excel.
Yeah. No, it's a good catchy brand. Did you have a few meetings with anybody about throw those ideas? What didn't get accepted? So if Excel Turbo was the choice, was there any other options that you almost went with?
That I almost created when created Excel Turbo. Oh, lots of names came into my mind, but most of them people already has taken before. So I had to come up with something new to be exclusive. And the logo was designed by myself. I paid for an agent. Yeah, I paid an agent to draw the logo. But then, because of several trainings, I was getting the road all the time, because some cities I couldn't go by plane, only by bus, and sometimes riding a bike. And because of the errors of the roads, I decided to inspire to create the turbo thing, and also the logo that you can see is inspired on the corners of the road. And that's the story behind the Excel Turbo. It is interesting to see you asking, because I think it's the first time that somebody asked me during a video, because usually when I talk about this is behind the scenes. So you are doing something new here.
It's good.
Very good.
I'm keen to find out about you as well. So we're all being brought together in this strange times, or around the world with conferencing and videos and all this sort of stuff. So it's good to chat.
Yes. Well, that's it. Very cool. Let me put on the screen. We are talking about channels and brands, and let me show to everyone I know that you have more content there, but I have my collection here. something that I think it's curious when people start to find you, especially
Oh,
using the Bing. There is an actor as well, but
yeah,
I'm using
you found
MVP.
him. My rival, my arch enemy, the other Wyn Hopkins.
But yeah, there's another Win Hopkins, but it's not this Win Hopkins.
Yeah, no.
It's the MVP. Make sure you, for those who are watching, make sure to write MVP, the
Yeah, yeah.
magic letters. And this is a picture from the LinkedIn. I see that you are very active on LinkedIn and also very
Yeah.
proud of the XLOOKUP.
Loving the XLOOKUP.
Yes, you give several suggestions for XLOOKUP, right?
Yeah, so the sort of, the story was, I went on to User Voice back in May 2016. So Excel User Voice, an important one for people to know about. Excel users, they should all go to Excel User Voice and put their votes in for new features, improvements, things that annoy them that they want to fix. So, I run Excel training a lot, and actually teaching people index match was a struggle. And VLOOKUP straightforward enough, but it's got its weaknesses. Index match is more powerful, more flexible, but it's harder to teach people because it's two functions, index and a match. So I came up with a little trick, and I'll show you that. I can show you that later on, my little trick. But I thought, why do we need a trick? Let's just have something that's better than both VLOOKUP and index match. So yeah, May 2016 on User Voice, I put this suggestion on there. And then I went onto LinkedIn and Twitter and everywhere else and started to get people to vote. And more people voted. And, massive kudos to them, because this wouldn't have happened if people hadn't voted. And then the Excel team picked it up and actually implemented it. So, and then they came up with it. My suggestion was for it to be called Get Match, which is now I look back, it's a terrible name. But they came up with XLOOKUP, which is a much better name, and added all sorts of extra power to it. So, it was my little seed of thought. But the Excel team and those folks, they really nailed it. It was awesome. So exciting. Yeah.
Yes, I see that you participate a lot of the User Voice. I have here on the screen. It's not the thing about the XLOOKUP, but it's another suggestion from you. I know that we have others and others and others. It's just for people who are watching. Wyn Hopkins is very active in user voice, and you can also write there and research if you find something really new that nobody knows and nobody came up with the idea. Let me write the link here for everyone. Everybody
Excellent.
can make suggestions inside the User Voice. Of course, to create something new, it's good to make sure you have experience, because sometimes I think you will agree with me, Wyn. When people had a beginning level, it's hard to create something that nobody did before, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody will say, hey, this thing that you are trying to do, it's available on that command, blah 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 blah, and we'll show the path.
Yeah.
But then when we are exposed every day to the tool, we have the chance to do like you are doing there for a long time. And then, but it's a good idea to take a look there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. If you start, typing something in as well, it comes up with a list of other posts that are similar. So you may come across, actually somebody else asking the same thing. And if you see lots of votes against that, then it's something that everybody's experiencing and having, problems with. But yeah, you're right. You just until you know something's possible or not possible, that's half the battle. I've been using Excel for 20 odd years now, and I'm fully happy to admit I probably know about 70%. Yeah, you just never know enough.
XLOOKUP.
Yeah, the translate XLOOKUP, excellent.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
mine. This is mine.
yeah. I
Because
voted.
the, yeah, yeah, I
One of
know
those
you.
one of those things in mine is mine.
Yeah, I have your picture here in the other page. Yeah, yeah, I
Ah,
know.
excellent.
Uh, yeah, this is the kind of interaction that we can have. So people who are watching, take a look on the user voice. You will find suggestions from Win Hopkins and also comments, because sometimes people already created the suggestion, so it doesn't make sense to create again and again and again just to say, hey, I am the creator of that idea. We have
Yeah,
also uh, be ready to support each other's there,
totally.
because if everyone votes, we have more chance to have the feature
Yeah.
built in the next version.
And
Great,
look,
great.
from being part of the sort of MVP type community, we do have this direct connection with the Excel guys, and they do read through that. They are conscious of what's in there, and it is part of what they assess, and it helps them prioritize. So if lots of people vote for something, they've got to put their resources towards a feature, and or multiple features. So the more votes that are on there for something, the more focus and attention it gets. And that's one of the main reasons that XLOOKUP got done, was because lots of people voted. So I'd encourage, even if you haven't got a suggestion, just jump in there and have a scroll through the top ideas and stuff like this, the first couple of pages, and just see what you agree with and vote for it. And it'll
Yes,
just make it better for everybody.
yes, it's a point of deeper discussions,
Yeah.
more technical, as the name. Yes, yes, great. And you are very active there as well. So it's well deserved that you are an MVP because of all that contributions. This makes the Excel even more special, because there is something. There is always somebody looking and thinking about new possibilities. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
I have more things here. A book that you helped to write with other guys.
Yeah,
Here
yeah,
is your picture.
yeah.
It's
All our pictures.
available on Amazon. Everybody can take a look and order. And this here, you are
Oz.
talking about
Oz.
XLOOKUP. This here is special. I would like to know more about this story, because it's funny. Let me play here while you talk. Just remove the sound, because I
Yeah,
using the headset. What is the story behind this day? Because this is really, really fun.
so yeah, I started following Oz on YouTube. So people, please follow Oz, Excel on Fire on YouTube. Hilarious, brilliant, engaging. And yeah, I was very much the index match camp. Oz was the VLOOKUP camp, and we used to have these sort of fake little battles. So when XLOOKUP came along, we decided to have a peace summit, and Oz was in Australia, so we came round to the office, and we had a peace declaration, and there we are. There's the peace declaration, and we both signed it. Me on behalf of the index match camp, and Oz on the behalf of the VLOOKUP camp, and we will never argue again, because we're all going to use XLOOKUP in the future. So yeah, it was fun. It was good.
Yeah. I'm not going to play all the video, because YouTube maybe could remove, because
Okay.
of the duplicated content, and also because I encourage everyone to take a look in Oz du Soleil's channel
Yeah, definitely.
to see, to watch the complete video, and take a look as well on Access Analytic. You will find lots of videos from Wyn Hopkins. So you have also your screen, and I know that you have something to show us, not only Excel, but I see something there. And are you opening the workbook? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me activate your screen, and now it's your show. What are you bringing here? And of course, what would you like to complete about the information, because I got the profile, the
Yeah,
MVP
yeah,
slide, but I think maybe you would like to complete with some additional information. So this is
yeah.
your
No, it's
space.
thank you. It's flattering to have all that stuff shown up on there. Yeah, you realize how much content is up there. As long as my search result puts me above the other Wyn Hopkins, I'm a happy man. So yeah, so I'm here in Perth. If those of you who don't know about Perth, it's pretty much one of the most remote cities in the world in terms of distance from any other city. But we have some beautiful sunsets and some interesting little creatures and Rottnest Island and things like this, which are it's quite a beautiful place to live, to be honest. But originally I'm from Wales, so in the UK. But I moved over here 12 years ago. So yeah, the Wyn name is a Welsh thing. Yeah, I still get back to Wales now and again. So yeah, what I wanted to sort of just show was the concept of what's now possible. A few years back, I did a session called "I Never Knew Excel Could Do That," because I think that's lots of people's reaction when you show them stuff in Excel when you're a bit more advanced, and even some of the new features. It's changing so rapidly that it's just amazing how quick. And I really do think sort of in Excel is the greatest BI tool, business intelligence tool ever built. Other people try, but you never get there. So it really is Excel is the best tool. And as soon as they added things like Power Query, Power Pivot, Power Maps, it just took Excel to a whole nother level. I guess for you, if you've been along this journey as well, in terms of around long enough with Excel, it didn't really change for about 14 or 15 years. It was just the same Excel. It was just the same stuff. And then they added a new ribbon in 2007, and they added new features in 2010. And that's where all this Power Query, Power Pivot stuff just opened up the world to people. It's just pretty awesome. So, you can analyze, slice and dice, do all sorts of things. By the way, I never use PowerPoint. You don't need to, just use Excel for all your presentations. It's much more fun. So yeah,
I see it.
And so the concept with Power Pivot and those sorts of things is that you can hook up different tables of data. Like traditionally, a pivot table was awesome at slicing and dicing one table of data, but then you'd have to do lots of VLOOKUPs to bring in extra columns, and that could get quite slow. And then it gets really awkward then. So what they've done is the ability to sort of add all these different bits and pieces. And you can even sort of then bring something in and have, apologies for the Star Wars references, but you can sort of slice and dice your charts with different slices and things like this, okay, by pulling in data and then hooking it all together. So I thought what I'd do is show you my 70 million VLOOKUP demo. So this is where we say, right, to produce this report, or the way I'm going to do it, historically, you would need to have done 70 million VLOOKUPs, which Excel would have just died back in the day. Okay, to be honest, it's much faster now, and with XLOOKUPs and stuff, it's quicker, but 70 million is still pushing the boundaries. So with
7
Excel,
million rows. You say 7 million rows.
So 5 million rows.
Oh, 5 million rows, but 7 million lookups.
70 million.
70. It's too much. It's
70 million.
70 million.
So we're going to have, imagine 5 million rows, and then you had to add, 10, 12, 15, 20 columns of VLOOKUPs. So you're doing these millions, every time you do a VLOOKUP, it's 5 million VLOOKUPs, then another 5 million, then another 5 million, and so on. So that's the concept, okay?
Yeah,
so
it's lots of data processing. It's a lot.
And even if you could do it in a sheet, you can't bring 5 million rows. If I go down to the bottom, control down arrow key, Excel can handle 1,048,576 rows. You can't actually load 5 million records into a sheet. And that's where the data model comes in. This is this awesome data wardrobe that you can hold in the back of Excel these days. And it's capable of storing just millions and millions, unlimited, really, number of records. So what I'm going to use as my data source is, if I open this up, where have I got it? Bring it across here. Don't know if it's a little bit small for you guys, but let me just zoom, see if I can zoom in a bit. Let's have a look. It's basically showing that there's 10 CSV files, and each of those CSV files has got 500,000 records. So if I add them all together, that's 5 million records. And each file is about 10 megabytes. There's about 100 megabytes of data. And I'm actually going to pull all this into Excel without opening a single file and without doing any copying and pasting. And that's the beauty of Power Query. Okay, it's just so cool. So you're using Power Query a whole lot, yeah, Cristiano?
Yes.
It's just, I know, but it pains me when people don't know about it.
Yes, I use for my projects, but when I talk to my students, most of them are not familiar with this tool. They are in that age of Control-C, Control-V, copy and paste, and VLOOKUP, and pivot tables, that's it.
Yeah.
And a chart, and copy and paste to PowerPoint, that's it. They don't know about Power Query or 3D maps or what else. They are in the past, 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
This is great. They will be happy to see this video. Everyone will be very happy.
You know, I've got the same experience as you. I think even going to conferences where there's people who are interested in Excel, or you know, you go to accounting conferences, or you know, Microsoft SQL Saturday events and all these sorts of things where people are techie, they, you know, they want to know about this stuff. Still only about 15% of people know, you know, Power Query is a thing, and it can just save people so much time and effort. It's just awesome. So let me just show you then. So if people don't want to know about Power Query after seeing this stuff in action, then yeah, there's no helping them, I don't reckon. So what we're going to do is get data. So under the data tab, there's get data from file, and you can tap into workbooks and all these sorts of things, but you can go from folder. You can tap into a database, online sources, all sorts of places. But let's just go from folder. And this function works really well if you're consolidating CSV files, text files, or Excel files. Yeah, those three types of files. Awesome at just grabbing each file and stacking it on top of each other. So I'm just going to put that folder path in there and click OK. And this then opens up a little Power Query navigator showing me the list of the 10 files. And this is the magic button, the combine button. Okay, I want to combine them and load them somewhere. So combine and load to. And it'll then ask me, where do I want to load these stacked files into? And I click OK. So this works really well when all the files are the same, you know, the same columns. It gets a bit trickier when they've got different column names and things. Okay, so let me give it a second. Hopefully running video and various other things at the same time will still allow me to do this okay. Let's give it a go. Give it a few seconds. It's taking a bit longer than normal.
Yes, it's good to say to everyone that this is sometimes a very heavy operation, and if we would be doing this in the old way, it could take all the week, maybe.
Yeah, to manually open it and do all those sorts of things. Okay, so I'm gonna, this is the magic tick box here. It says add to the data model. So that's the magic bit, okay? Only create connection is the key as well. If I said table, that would load it into a sheet. A sheet can only hold 1 million records. I'm loading 5 million. So it would fail if I tried to load this to a table. So I'm saying only create a connection, i.e. don't put it in a sheet, and then load it to the data model. And this is this magic wardrobe of data in the background of Excel. So I'm clicking OK. And on the right-hand side here, down the bottom, you'll actually see these files loading in a second. If I wasn't on this channel currently and using my camera and using all my other resources, this actually goes really quick. It's going a little bit slower now. It's going 300,000, 400,000 rows. But still, you know, that's one file copied. Now it's going on to the next one and loading the next row of data underneath. And then it's rowed in the next row. You know, once you go past 1 million, people say, I didn't realize you could do that much data in Excel.
Yeah, it's going to happen right now. Yes.
So we're going past the millions.
Yes.
The other day, that's a funny story. The other day, I had a client who had a massive text file it was like a 4 gigabyte text file, and they couldn't load it into Access. It was too big for Access database. Access database can only take, at least when I did this, could only take a 2 gigabyte text file. So I loaded it into Excel instead, using Power Query and Power Pivot. You know, the days of Access being the one that can handle a massive data and Excel not. Those days are really gone. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So while it's whirring away, you know, what's happening is that the Power Query is taking a file, then grabbing the next one, appending it, grabbing the next one, appending it, and just pushing all this data into the back end of Excel. If you have 64-bit Excel or 64-bit Office, this all works quicker and it's much less prone to crashing. And I really encourage people to get the 64-bit version of Office. Not every business has that yet, unfortunately.
It's because of compatibility with macros commonly.
Yeah, and other sort of, it used to be things like printer drivers and stuff like this didn't operate on 64-bit, but those days should be done. Okay, we're there. Okay, so we've got 4.99 million rows plus a header row. Okay, so down here we have got 4.99 million plus a header, so that's 5 million records. So what?
One more.
One more. Should have just pushed it one more. It can handle, technically, apparently, it can handle 2 trillion rows.
Wow.
You know, I wouldn't want to wait there for it to load for 2 trillion rows, but apparently, you know, if you've got enough RAM on your machine, you could technically do it. So what do I do now? Well, under the data tab, there's a Manage Data Model button. So I'm just going to click on that. And this will open up the data model, or its other name is Power Pivot. Okay, this is the sort of the naming here. So I've already loaded two little tables, a little calendar table and a little location table. So here's my couple of tables here. And this is my file with my 5 million records in. So I've just got a date, a code, and a cost. So the magic is here. The magic where the 70 million lookups happens here. Because if I want to do some slice and dicing by city or country, or by month, or by financial year, or by day, historically, I would have had to do lots of VLOOKUPs against this table of 5 million records. I'd have had to copy the formulas down, you know, do another formula, and it gets so slow, you know, it's not designed to handle it that way. But with the data model, it's really dead simple. I just go, okay, here's my location code, drag it up, drop it onto location code. And that is now the equivalent of 5 million records times 1, 2, 3 lookups. So that's 15 million lookups done with that drag of that line, which is insane. And then I'm going to do the date and hook that up to the date in my little calendar table. And that will then be 5 million rows times another 11 lookups, another 55 million lookups just done with that one drag. It's the equivalent of doing that. So now I can slice and dice my results by month, by day, by country, by location. So let me just show you how I do that. You just go into any page, you insert a pivot table, and the default is then this option, use this workbook's data model. So as soon as you create a data model, you then can use it it says use this workbook's data model. Click OK. And now I have my little pivot table fields over here. And these little symbols, let's see if I can jump in on here. Will that work? So this little symbol means it's a part of a data model, that little sort of yellow database symbol. Yeah, little orange symbol there. So here we go. From my CSVs, I've got my cost. So I'll just put that in my cost box. So my total cost, if I make this a bit wider, was this figure here, 2.7, and I'll just format that. So right click, number format. Don't go format cells because it loses the formatting. Go number format, the format sticks then. So right click number format, number, thousands, no decimals. Okay, so there's my number formatting. Awesome. Right, now I can slice and dice it by anything from these other linked tables. So I could do by country, and I've only actually got Australia in there, by city. And then across the top, I could do it by, from my calendar, I could do it by year, so calendar year. I've only got 2018, and then by month. You know, the ability to just to quickly slice and dice, that was a folder of, you know, CSVs 5 minutes ago. And now I'm able to cut it, the data in 101 different ways. Super powerful and instant, you know. And if somebody says, oh, can you give it to me by, you know, I don't want it by that way round, or I need it sort of summarized differently. You just drag these around, you know, and just go, okay, well, here's my month, or I want to do a slicer. So add as a slicer, and then here's my months, and I can just click through the different months instead. You know, you can't do that with normal Excel formulas. You'd have to rewrite all your formulas and move them around. And
yes, you know. And I see that the performance is so good that it wasn't necessary to press the differ layout update box. It's on the fly. It's on the fly. Yeah.
And oh, it's a good point actually. So my tip to people when they start using Power Pivot is the first thing you should do is put a value in that values box. Okay, if you put a row label in before you put a value, sometimes you can generate these massive lists because there's no, it shows everything, even if there's no value against it. And that can, you can end up having a bit of a spinning wheel of horror. And eventually you may end up going off the page because there's so many different combinations of items, even if they've got no values. So yeah, top tip, put something in the values box as step one, and then slice and dice it by, you know, whatever you know, fiscal quarter if I want, or whatever.
Excellent.
Or because my calendar is set up like that. So I've got a little calendar with dates and months and what fiscal year they are, and then just can hook it up. Dead simple. Then you can go one step further. Okay, you can really show off then. So if you go to insert, you may have this option of 3D maps, right? If you don't have that, you may have to go to File, Options, Add-ins. Let's see if it'll jump there. Come on, Add-ins. Just having a think. I might have to save this file quickly, just in case, using up all my resources. And then you go to COM add-ins down the bottom. So COM add-ins and go. You may well see Power Map for Excel not ticked. Give it a tick, and then you'll have it. Okay. I think it's in most versions these days. I may be wrong about that, but I think it's in most versions. So let me just save my file a second. So I'll go File, Save As, and our demo. Okay, and here's a challenge then for your viewers. Everybody in their brains, how big is this Excel file going to be? I brought in 10 megabyte files. So I brought in 100 megabytes of data. Let me add the map as well. I'll show you that, and then we'll have a little. So have a think, and then at the end you can see how close you were to guessing how big this Excel file is going to be, because it feels like it's going to be big. Okay, so 3D map. What it does is you can then map. So my location table had a little address field in it, like city and country. And what you can do then is your data can get mapped against Bing Maps. And let me bring it over. Here it is. So this is just Excel. Who knew? Who knew that Excel could do this sort of stuff, okay? And over here is my little field list. And okay, so I want to do country into my location box. These are the tables, the same thing as in the pivot tables. So there's the city. Oh, sorry, there's the country. Then I'll do city in here. So there we are. And we can start zooming in. And also the height is going to be the cost. So the cost is going to be the height of the bars. And now here we are. We have the ability to rotate my world, zoom in down to individual points, change these shapes to columns if I want rather than squares. It's funky. You can start just zooming around and, playing about. You can even then put something like date into the time axis. So there's date in the time axis. And now I can click play and I can see how my costs have changed over time. It's just playing there. And these bars, they're all the same because my data is just fake. So it's just all coming out the same. It's just cool.
It's increasing. It's increasing.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It's just slowly, and I can drag it back and say what were the sales back here, or what were the sales at this point. You can add map labels. You can change your themes to different schemes and color schemes and things like this, and then you can sort of zoom out and zoom around the world and analyze your data. For those people who believe in flat Earth theory, you're catered for as well. There is a flat map feature, so you can just scan around a flat map. Yeah, it's awesome, and it's just Excel. It's just a spreadsheet. It's just, you can even do your own customized ones and stuff like this. So yeah, all that data, those boring old CSV files, all of a sudden I can, build this sort of thing. And I can even create scenes and click this button up the top left to create a video of my movements, and then have that video embedded, say in a PowerPoint slide for doing a presentation about, how were sales last month. Awesome. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. And I like to say to my students that the panel that we have on the screen now, the right side of the screen, the concept is similar to the pivot tables, right? Because we have data in a specific position. We have a position for height is about value numbers, and we have categories. So people who are familiar with pivot table will find this easier than people who doesn't work with pivot table yet.
Yeah, yes. Totally. And you can get really carried away and spend a long time on this.
Yes. I have a demo about the coronavirus expansion, and people who are watching. Yes, people who are watching this can find the video in my LinkedIn profile, but it's in Portuguese. If I remember, it's in Portuguese, or maybe it's just a short video with music in background. But anyway, it's just an information to check some real data using this technique. But it's so from March.
So if you use Power Query to go off to some source and suck the data in, and
I got the CSV files from the Hopkins University.
Excellent.
It's yours. I think.
I get everywhere.
Yes. They have the data, and it will be a good idea now to make an update of that video, because I made in the middle of March, before the big expansion of the virus in the USA. But it's the technique with Power Query that I encourage everyone to let me put the banner again. Advice from Wyn Hopkins: learn Power Query. Yeah,
learn it.
Yeah,
it will change your life. Anything if you find yourself every month or week doing the same thing, copy pasting, filtering something, splitting something apart, using the left, right, mid function, concatenates, and it's the same over and over again, month after month, Power Query can just save you all the time. So just get into it. It's awesome.
Yes, yes, this is awesome, awesome. This is brilliant, and also the 3D map. People could be playing with only the 3D map without getting out of the screen for a full day and another day playing, and I'm sure they will discover some details that are not possible to cover in a 1 hour video or 45 minutes video. They will be amazed by the possibilities that this tool offers to us.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And right, so my question then is, how big is this Excel file? Okay, so let me close this down. Right, I'm going to save this. So I'm saving it. Modern Excel demo, and the file is actually, let me just get the file path. So so here we go. Let's just grab that little, actually it's over here. I got it over here. So the file with 100 megabytes of data in, okay, let me just minimize this a little bit, is, drum roll, here we go. So here's the file here. Let me just zoom in. The demo file, there we go, 12 megabytes.
It's okay.
Yeah, after pulling in 100 megabytes of data and adding a 3D map and adding a pivot table, it's only 12 megabytes in size. It's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's the compression power of the Power Pivot model, the data model. It can compress your data, and the more compressed it is, the faster it works. So it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yes, people may be thinking, oh, it will have 25 or maybe even more, 200 megabytes.
Yeah, it's a monster file. But
no.
Put your data in the data model. It is awesome.
Awesome. Brilliant. They will be amazed when they watch the recording of this video, because again, I have lots of friends and students that are starting to learn Power Query right now. So this is a very rich content to an excellent starting point for them who are not familiar with the tool. Excellent. Thank you.
That's okay.
Cool. Yes. We are almost in the end of this video. Usually we do no more than 1 hour, and I'd like you to show us your contacts. Let me put you on the screen bigger now. How they can contact you. I put something on the beginning, but it's your time. Tell them how they can find you, and of course for projects as well, because we put some free content on the internet. This is good, this is awesome, but we have a job. You make projects, and how can the companies find you to solve the complex problems that they cannot find with the YouTube videos?
Yeah, so we deliver face-to-face training in and around Australia and sort of Asia. So that's Excel and Power BI training. So you can find us at Access Analytic. We've also got a blog there. So, and we sign up for our newsletter, and you can get once a month little posts. You find me on Twitter at Wyn Hopkins. You'll find me on LinkedIn a lot. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. And our YouTube Access Analytic account. Again, sharing lots of content on there. But if you do have potential Power BI or Excel projects, and you're struggling with those sorts of things, and you want either us to build something for you or to skill up your staff so they can build it themselves, that's the sort of thing we do. So it's our 20th anniversary this year. So we're having a few, it's not the greatest time to have a celebration. So once once the social distancing ends, we'll have a bit of a get together to celebrate 20 years of Access Analytic. But yeah, it's a fun space to be in, and Excel is just getting more and more powerful. I often see these things about Excel's dead, or will Excel ever get replaced and stuff. And I'm totally biased, but no, there's no chance. It's just everywhere and getting better all the time.
Good, excellent. And do you have some final words for the people who are watching? I'd like to finish this video. I'm going to put you on the screen, but I would like to finish this video with your advice for them, and then I will be press the button and we are done. Let me put you on the screen. Your advice for the audience that are watching you.
Okay, advice. Okay, so don't beat yourself up if you don't know everything yet. Don't compare yourself and your own ability with other people's that you see, online and other things. I always look at stuff other people do and go, how on earth do they know that? And then next week I know that. So you just learn, right? I'm 20 years of Excel and I know about 70%, and I still learn. And that's why I love this topic. So if you love, learning and finding out new things, that you're on the right path, and make the effort, just a little bit of effort every week to go and learn something new. Read some books, follow the blogs, watch some of these YouTube channels and stuff like this. Okay. And you'll just progress gradually. There's if there is a magic key, I definitely missed it because I'm still learning after 20 years. So keep learning. It's an awesome product. It's getting better. It's not going anywhere. So time invested in learning Excel is time very well spent.
Thank you very much, Wyn. It was a very nice pleasure conversation, and thanks for accepting the invitation and for all the advice. Thanks you very much.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.